Hello, Dr. Megha. Welcome to the Health Site.
Hi. Thank you so much.
All right, doctor. So we are here today to talk about. Let me tell our viewers that there have been a case in Lucknow where a boy who studies in class ninth, he's a student in school in Lucknow, and there was a parent-teacher meeting in his school, and there he's supposed to be a very good student in terms of studies and everything. He's a excelling student, but unfortunately he did not get the expected the marks which he was expecting, the result he was expecting. And out of this stress and out of this fear, he went to the railway station and he was found injured on the railway track. So we are here to talk about this topic. So doctor, talking about this, what do you have to say about this case?
First of all, I think it's very, very unfortunate. We're talking about 9th standard child,
Right.
probably a child who's 14 years old, right? Too young, and, it's sometimes very surprising. Most of the parents ask that, how can a child feel sadness or depression or anything, such intense emotions, suicidal thoughts at this young age? First of all, I think we have to remove this myth that these thoughts, these emotions can be experienced at any age, including a 10-year-old. But yes, at 14, 15, when you're adolescent, probably your emotional mind is fully functional. You have to understand, it's very, very functional. So it means you really feel intense emotions. You talk about anger, you talk about sadness. They really feel those intense emotions. Unfortunately, their thinking mind, what we call is a judgment mind, it's still developing. It's under construction, you can say. It's not fully developed till 18, sometimes 20, 22. And that's the reason they, when the emotional power or mind is so vulnerable, in that vulnerable state, when they're feeling so intense emotions, unfortunately, they cannot press brakes. They cannot just reason it out that okay, it's okay, it's just a phase, that also will pass, and I better not be taking that act.
Right.
Probably once you cross 20, 24, you still have a better sense of judgment, a better sense of break. You will think of all the scenarios. That unfortunately does not happen in adolescent teenagers, and that's what put them at more risk of taking such impulsive behaviors, which exactly has happened here.
Right, doctor. Talking about the thought process of a child, as we mentioned that he's probably a 14-year-old child. So I would like to ask you, do you deal with such cases where where a teenager faces this depression, where he has this anxiety and stress that what if my result is not up to the mark, and what if my parents are not happy with my result? So what is the exact thought process going? What is the exact mindset of a child throughout the entire
In
process?
fact, this is a very common scenario, especially, in our setting, if we talk about the Indian setting. I think still in clinical practice, when we sit, we all talk about, teenagers have so much on their mind, they have relationship issues and they have all other issues. Still, I personally feel, when we go into the clinic setting, majority of the children, when they come across sadness, we have to understand they do still take a lot of academic pressure. And sometimes when we really talk to them, of course, social relationship is one part of it, but major part of their life or the stress, is because of academics, and we cannot close our eyes at the fact, because majority of the time when we see children in clinic, they tell us, okay, they have an exam or they have a surprise test, or they want to go to a good college, or they are not getting the marks they are expecting, they are putting effort, they are not getting the praises from everybody around. The parents' expectations are more, the teachers are expecting more, school is putting more pressure. So, various scenarios at each and every. Sometimes children themselves have high expectations. It was very surprising. I recently saw a child wherein I asked the child, how much marks you have got, and the child said, I didn't do well because I didn't get the marks I was expecting. Okay, how many marks? I said, you got. The child has got 50 marks out of 60. And what was the expectation? The expectation was 62. And that itself, I was surprised that, okay, look at the expectation from within themselves. Now, we all need to be blamed for that, of course, because this expectation cannot build over one day. There must be a constant, oh, you can do better. From 62, you can go to 62. That 62 is making such a big impact in the child's mind at this stage.
Right, doctor. So, doctor, talking about what are the, I know there is no such treatment. So, asking about the treatment is a wrong question. But, what methods the parents or the guardians or the teachers or the people around the children who are there to protect them always, what measures should be, taken? What precautionary measures should be taken to maintain such an environment where a child feel safe and secured, and he's not probably thinking of something like that to end his life or go.
Yes.
Because I have heard of such cases also where the child runs away. He just feels abandoned and he just runs away from his house. So what measures the adult should take to make a child feel secured?
See, if we look at child's world, unlike adults, we have many spheres of our life. I think they have only two words. One is a home environment and one is a school environment. Neighborhood and all really does not put too much of pressure. Of course, there may be peers there, but that's all. They don't have. So if anything goes wrong, it has to go here. Either it has to go wrong at the home environment or the school environment. Talking about the home, so prevention, when we're talking about or preventive steps, I think both the places need to be balanced. In terms of that, we should be looking at where we can improve. I think if we talk about the home settings, probably as parents, still we as Indian parents put too much of pressure on marks. And I think we have somewhere we need to be very, very cautiously, consciously talking to ourselves that do they really matter? 10 years down the lane, when we are standing, when we all working professionals, do we really remember what our marks were in 10th, 9th?
Right.
But then, the kind of hype it's being created, and we all have gone through this process. I don't think things have really changed over last, 10, 15 years. They may have, I will be wrong, but not to the extent, the way we have progressed in the rest of the other fields. Absolutely not. We are still sticking to that same system. Marks are important, exams are important. And, the top of, I think what has happened is parents have become more educated. And now, as a normal human parents, what is our tendency? Okay, my child should be more educated or more, he or she should do more than me, what I have done. And I think that, they don't say it, but then somewhere that does cause subconscious pressure on the child, and somewhere we need to relax and we need to tell it's okay. It's just a marks. It's just an exam. There will be ample exams. It's one exam failed does not make a difference. I think that continuous talk every day should happen with the children, so that the children do not, feel overburdened. Second mistake which we do always is the moment the child tells marks, how much the other child got? How does it matter? How does this matter? Rather than saying, okay, you can do your best, the comparison, I think we should actively, consciously avoid it, this, because it does not cause any good. We're just pulling down the child. Okay. And, next time, somewhere the child will have that, a mindset that, okay, my mom or parents will be happy only if I'm getting better marks than this child, or I will be, even if I've scored 89 out of 90, that child has scored 90. So it's not good enough. So the comparisons really hurt the children. No comparisons at all. Another thing which can be really regularly done is to have an open channel of communication. Somewhere, there's a life beyond or apart or separate from exams and studies. How are you doing in school, or what is happening? How's your life doing? Very general chat on a day-to-day basis wherein the child is feeling free to express. Sometimes just giving a child a listening ear on a regular basis really helps in a long way, So I think very, very basic things, which has been said over and over, but I think implementation still, is something which has to be consciously brought into action. If I look at the school, I think school probably should not be putting too much of pressure over exams. I'm not saying that they should just let it go, but then rather than making that one exam such a big thing, have regular, just regular tests, so that the child is prepared enough, so that big day is not created in child's mind. And, ultimately it's about improvement. See, we have to understand not 5 fingers are going to be same. Not all the children in the class are going to be the same. So, every child have their own individual potential. We should just let them flourish, I think somewhere the exam fear and the scenario still has to be changed. If your child is doing homework regularly, there's no fear of exams because you have studied the entire thing throughout. What happens is, homework is given, nobody checks, all of a sudden there's exam, and that's it. So regular consistent effort, even if little it is done and somebody ensures that it's going on, probably will not put so much of pressure on the children. And as I said, regular extracurricular activities should be encouraged in children, something which is different from studies. Let's have a very, very clear agenda about it. And on top of that, both the environment should be very well aware of what happens when a child is emotionally disturbed. They should be trained enough to pick up signs, rather than just refuting. Okay, if the child is expressing, I'm feeling sad, hey, nothing, sumne, you're making excuse, go get up. Can we just, before passing that judgment, can we really ask the child, okay, what do you mean? What is happening? Sometimes the talking itself, just let them out, they can vent out, and that itself helps resolve half of the issues.
All right, doctor. I think, doctor, those words are really helpful, and I think parents are now more they'll try to turn more empathetic after this incident. And not even this incident, many such incidences have happened before also, and we have encountered many such cases. You yourself are a doctor, and you must have seen such cases happening around you, and many such cases coming up. So, doctor, thank you so much for talking to us, and thank you so much for taking up this case. And
thank you so much for having me. I think it's a wonderful topic. The more awareness we create, hopefully will make a difference, and each life matters.
Right, doctor. Thank you so much, doctor.